You know who's a great gun person to talk to about this? Ann Coulter. Well, she's big on guns. We'll talk to her next on 710 WOR.
This is the Mark Simone Show.
710 WOR.
Well, Ann Coulter, of course, the best-selling author. If you haven't read all of her great books, you can get them at anncoulter.com or wherever you get books. And make sure you follow her on Twitter. And actually, a lot of good stuff on her website, anncoulter.com, anncoulter.com. Ann Coulter, how you doing?
Fantastic. How are you, Mark Simone?
Very good. Hey, we go through this routine every 6 months or whatever, mass shooting. All the politicians make these speeches about more gun laws, and then they go right back to sleep. They've never solved the problem. They've never done a thing about it. What's the real solution?
Well, one thing you'll be happy to hear, I'm going to say something nice about President Trump at this moment. So,
let me sit down.
Buckle up. And I've said this many times before and publicly. The one promise he kept his first week in office when Steve Bannon was still around was the Muslim ban, as I affectionately call it. Yes, I know they threw in other terrorist-producing countries. And what was curious about that is, you never notice what's not happening. You never notice what's missing. But basically from 9/11 until that first week of Trump being in office, we'd have an radical Islamic inspired terrorist attack every 3 months, every 6 months. Definitely, I don't think we'd go a full year without one. I mean, just in the last couple of years, just during Obama's second term, I think we had, well, at least Obama's presidency, Fort Hood, San Bernardino, Boston Marathon. Months before the election was the Pulse nightclub shooting. You kind of forget about it. It recedes into the past. That wasn't that long ago. There was not one terrorist attack during Trump's first term, only term, during Trump's
okay, that's presidency. Good point. But you got plenty of homegrown.
He had kept all of his promises. Think how wonderful the country is.
Oh, here we go again. But you got plenty of homegrown domestic nuts who pick up a gun and do a mass shooting.
No, that's true. But let's say we could cut those in half, because 47% of all mass shootings for the past decade have, in fact, been committed by people who are only here because of Teddy Kennedy's Immigration Act. We
okay, but my point...
We're not vetting immigrants. Years ago, James Comey, when he was head of the FBI, said that the FBI had investigations of ISIS-associated immigrants. ISIS, that's one terrorist group.
Yeah.
There are many others in all 50 states. Suppose those FBI resources, I mean, as with this case out in Colorado, I might add, as with that guy Cruz down at the Parkland School in Florida. All these mass shootings occur, and we're told the FBI is so proud. Oh, we were keeping an eye on this guy. Maybe a little less keeping an eye on, but imagine if FBI resources could be freed up 50% more to get to focus on the homegrown nuts, because there are going to be a certain number of homegrown nuts.
Yeah.
One thing, I guess. It's strange to many New Yorkers, or actually maybe New Yorkers would sympathize with me on this. I'm a fan of guns. I'm always baffled by people who just are afraid of seeing a gun, sitting on my desk.
Well, I don't want to see a gun on your desk.
Yeah, it's very nice, but it's not.
No, it's not.
Guns don't crawl out of drawers and attack people. And every time, Florida was one of the first states to pass concealed carry, and the claim was, this is going to turn every traffic accident and road rage into... Well, of course, none of that happened. And why doesn't it happen? Cars scare me, largely because I spent much of my adult life in New York City. Don't drive much. Cars are fatal instruments that morons are getting into every single day. Really not so much in New York, because you can only go about 30 miles per hour if there's no traffic. But leave a city. If people were so inclined to kill one another, if they had the means available, you'd have husbands constantly running over wives or gunning down people in road rage accidents. I mean, it happens now and then, but a car is as deadly and in many ways a much easier deadly weapon to use than a gun.
Yeah, but I guess my point was the silliness of these politicians. They'll never solve it. Like the idea of you ban them. We tried that with heroin. It didn't get rid of it. We tried that with LSD. It didn't get rid of it. Or if 10 people are killed in a horrible mass shooting and everybody's crying and you say, yeah, but 40 people get shot every weekend in Chicago. They go, that doesn't concern me.
Right. No, obviously gun control doesn't work. We've had, 100-year experiments with that. As everyone says, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. If guns are outlaws, only outlaws will have guns. Yeah, duh. We'll look to see how most of these guns are obtained, at least in your average, drive-by shooting or crime. And then, yeah, you have a certain number of nuts. What sort of surprised me about the Boulder shooting, because Colorado is a big gunner state. Yeah, but Boulder, it's like Austin. It's a little slice of the Upper West Side in the middle of Colorado.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Oh, Boulder's a very hippie, left-wing place. Very, very. So, and I'm not blaming the victim, but I was just thinking that couldn't have happened. I mean, Florida is like the white trash capital of the world, and you never have mass shootings in Florida. Why? Because everyone is armed.
You had the nightclub shooting there.
That's true. Well,
you have less in Florida than most places.
I will promise you that was a gun-free zone, and I say everyone is armed. Probably not 20-year-old millennial gay guys going to a nightclub.
Well, but you understand my point. After a mass shooting, Stephen Colbert will not do the monologue. Instead, he'll come out and tear up talking about these 10 victims. But every weekend, 40 people killed in Chicago. He'll never even mention it.
Yes.
Why this double standard on this?
Yes. No, I mean, you're right. But as for, and they'll do nothing, I think you're tempting fate with that. They do have the Democrats have this narrow majority right now. They have been dying to ban guns, register guns, et cetera, for such a long time. The only upside is whenever they have done so, it has been massively unpopular at the ballot box because most people are rational about this, as you are.
Yeah. Also, if you want to control guns and make them impossible to get, first step would be you'd have to close the border because millions of illegal guns can flow in across that open border. So
yes,
just like the drugs do.
As well as people who are going to use them.
Yeah. Okay. And you don't remember when Trump had 12 people at the White House? It was a super spreader event. Biden has 500,000 people in one room in the border. That's not a super spreader event.
No, I think the riots pretty much convinced at least anyone who was paying attention that this whole social distancing business was a scam. I mean, we had constant riots, BLM, Antifa throughout 2020. Health officials like Fauci and the rest of them assured us, no danger here. Did you see them? We can't visit grandma. We can't have small dinner parties. But you have hundreds of people jammed together, fighting with one another, getting in one another's face. I think everyone realizes that whole thing is a scam. And I also think the year of COVID and the year of riots has persuaded even people who don't pay attention that, and even people who are not naturally inclined to be preppers, that they can't really count on government to tell them the truth or to protect them. I mean, however far these defund the police movements go, a lot of police departments are losing a lot of money, and they're certainly losing enthusiasm for their jobs. So, not only with stockpiling rice and beans, I think you're going to have, you probably already do have a lot more people stockpiling guns to protect themselves.
Well, we're out of time, but everybody go to AnnCoulter.com, get all of her books. I love the book Demonic. It really tells you a lot about this mob mentality. Any of her books, AnnCoulter.com. Make sure you follow her on Twitter. It's Ann Coulter at Twitter. And Ann Coulter, thanks for being with us.
Good to talk to you, Mark Simone. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. I want everybody to check out the webpage. We put up new